Hello, class of 2024. This day will forever represent one of the greatest milestones in your life. Whether you're the first in your family to graduate from college, or you are part of a Gettysburgian family, you're standing today on the shoulders of your family and your ancestors. You are each the bridge between everything that's been done to help you arrive at this moment, the hard work, the sacrifices, the prayers, and your future, unwritten, filled with endless possibilities for you to do and accomplish anything that you want to. You have done it. My congratulations to the parents, the families, the friends, and the loved ones who have played essential roles in reaching today. I'm sure many of you thought that this day was never gonna come, particularly given how it started in the middle of the pandemic, but it did, and it's glorious, and the rain stopped to celebrate it for us. My sincere thanks to President Giuliano, the esteemed faculty, administration, board, and everyone in the Gettysburg College community for inviting me here to speak today and to receive this great honor. My grandfather was a Pullman porter on the railroad, a very good aspirational job for a Black man of his time. My cousins are here with me today, so our grandfather died before we were born. Although he did not finish high school, he was by all accounts a prolific reader, a lover of opera, and a devoted student of American history. So how wonderful it is for me to be standing here today on his shoulders, surrounded by the spirit of Lincoln and of men and women who have given their lives in the hopes of creating a more perfect union. At a college founded by an anti-slavery theologian on land donated by an abolitionist who wrote the 14th Amendment. From its very inception, your college has clearly been designed to prepare students, to prepare you to do great work. And I'm sure that was a big factor in you deciding to come here. Everything that has transpired in the almost 200-year history of this august institution has been designed to provide you, every member of this graduating class, with an excellent liberal arts education, a consequential education so that you can lead a consequential life. But what does it actually mean to live a consequential life? The word consequential literally means of importance, of significance, something that matters. And I, like this college, believe that each of us was put on this earth to do something that matters. However, that meaningful contribution can be made in infinite number of ways. You can be a parent, you can be a teacher, you can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, and I think you can even be a film and TV and stage producer. At least for right now, some of you have an answer. You have a direction that you will be following as of tomorrow. But I dare say that for most of you, this will be one of the most important questions of your life. What is your purpose? What is that thing that you are going to do that matters? Finding that answer that is uniquely yours won't be easy. There'll be ups, there'll be downs, there'll be twists, there'll be turns, and I guarantee you there will be some failure. But if you do the work and you stay the course in finding your purpose, you will also find personal happiness and fulfillment. So as we send you off today on your journey, I want to share with you 5 lessons I've learned over the years on my own journey to lead a consequential life. Number 1, you must believe in yourself. You must believe not only that you are capable of achieving everything that you want to, but that you are worthy. We often look around at others and compare ourselves, and we see our shortcomings and we think other people have more. Social media only exacerbates that situation by letting people put out very carefully curated, seemingly perfect visions of their life. But the truth is, nobody's life is perfect. Everyone has insecurities and things about themselves and their lives that they want to be different. Know that in most cases, the difference between where you are and where you want to be is the degree to which you are honest with yourself and your willingness to do the hard work to get there. Because if you believe in yourself, then number two, you can bet on yourself. And it's necessary to take some calculated risks in life to find your path to your consequential life. I've always been enthralled with film and television. My father was the biggest film and television buff that I knew. I grew up in a household where we watched TV, and I was that kid that was in the movie theater every weekend. But I never saw anybody who looked like me, and I never heard about anybody who looked like me that was creating content. So when it came time for graduate school, I had the application for USC Film School, the dream here, and the application for Harvard Law School, the practical choice here. I had to take care of myself. I needed to make money for myself, so I went the practical route. In the 7 years following law school, I had 4 different legal jobs, and I took off a very painful year to ostensibly be a freelance writer, but really to escape my law firm, where I was working crushing hours, and I had no time to think about what I wanted to do with my life. I was a really good lawyer, but I was motivated by a fear of failure. I didn't love it, and I didn't feel like what I was contributing as a corporate lawyer mattered. It didn't matter to me. Newly divorced and approaching 30, an urgency set in to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I cast my net around, thought about different things, and then I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, why not go for the big dream, a career in film and television? And if I didn't do it then, when was I gonna do it? I did not wanna wake up now saying, if I coulda, shoulda, woulda, what if? Yes, it was a tough industry to get in. No, I had no idea how I was gonna get into it. But I thought, other people are getting jobs in Hollywood, so why not me? I also understood the power of images on screen to break down prejudices and stereotypes, and the possibility of inspiring people and having a voice in our culture was incredibly exciting to me. So I decided to bet on myself. I was still working as a lawyer, but I spent a year learning everything I could about the movie business. And I figured out I wanted to either be a studio executive or a producer. With a specific goal, I could make a plan. I ended up going into an executive development program at Columbia Pictures. For 2 years, I made no money. And I lost my status. I was no longer the lawyer walking into the room. I was like basically the intern. But I loved what I was doing for the first time. I loved where I was headed. And I was working as hard as I worked at my law firm, but because I loved it, it didn't feel like work in the same way. And all of that led me here today, standing before you to talk about the journey. Figuring out what you love is the key to success. Now, there's one more thing about taking risks. At some point, you are going to fail. That comes with the territory. But honestly, from failure, I have learned some of my most important lessons in life. For example, the year as a freelance writer, I considered to be one of failure. Even though I had voluntarily left my law firm, a few months in, I was lost, confused, and really depressed. In fact, my 28th birthday, I spent it on my couch in my house crying my eyes out because I was like, I'm lost. I don't know that I'll ever achieve what I want to. But in retrospect, that experience set the stage for the next phase of my life because it forced me for the very first time in my life to define success for myself and to really understand that if I was going to find true happiness and true well-being, I needed to figure out my real purpose. Number 3, know when to hold them and know when to fold them. In my 20s, I had a very good friend who was a TV news reporter, and she interviewed an incredibly successful Nobel Prize-winning scientist. At the end, she asked him how he had been able to achieve so much in his life. And he responded quite simply that he had learned that sometimes you need to stop what's doing that's not working and move on to the next thing, because otherwise you're wasting time. Similarly, I recently read a quote on this point from the late Charles Munger, who not only was Warren Buffett's right-hand man and the architect of his business philosophy, but he was a famous card player. And Charlie said, quote, "What you have to learn is to fold early when the odds are against you. Or if you have a big edge, back it heavily because you don't get a big edge often." Almost a decade ago, I had been affiliated with the Walt Disney Company for 20 years. The company and its executives have been incredibly supportive of me, and we had a good run, some pretty good successes. Roger and Hammerstein's Cinderella, Princess Diaries, Cheetah Girls. But towards the end of that period, I just could not get a movie going. Nothing was connecting, and I had no idea why. My first instinct was to double down, to continue working in the same way that I had for the years that had led to the success. Still nothing was working. And eventually, we decided to part ways. It was time to fold them. Stepping away, I eventually realized that for 20 years, I'd been doing my business in the same way, with the same goals, and I'd become stale. Disney had changed, the business had changed, audience had changed, the world and even I had changed, and therefore I needed to figure out a new business model. Once again, I took a year of exploration. I got out of the Hollywood bubble. I met new people, I went to conferences, I opened myself up to new ideas. And in the process, I got back in touch with myself, with that voice in my head that tells you what's in your heart. And I started thinking about what I still wanted to say as a filmmaker, what I still wanted to contribute to the culture. At the end of that year, I very enthusiastically wrote a new business plan. And I looked at it kind of like a term paper at the end of this course on rebooting my life. And honestly, within weeks, the universe responded with incredible, unexpected opportunities. Out of the blue, I got a call from Paulina Abokwe, the then head of Universal Television, asking me if I would like to bring my company to hers. I had been developing the movie Harriet for years, and all of a sudden, there was real momentum to make the movie. Opportunities were coming once again, and so in the words of Charlie Munger, I leaned in heavily and seized them. And this post-reboot period, I'm still in it, and it's good. You will probably have a number of jobs and careers in your life. It's the nature of our economy today. And again, it'll take you time to find the things that's right, that's your purpose. You need to figure out when to hold. You need to figure out when to fold. But staying in touch with yourself, with that voice in your head, will help you know what you want to accomplish, both personally and professionally, and let that help guide you on the journey. Number 4, surround yourself with people who support you. I'm incredibly lucky to have parents who told me I could do anything, a family that supported me, and lots of good friends. Upon reflection, I started making really my lifelong friends in college, like you. I was a public school kid, and college was the beginning of being in environments where there was self-selection, and so the likelihood of finding kindred spirits was greater. I bet you guys understand what I'm talking about. I remain particularly close to my law school network because we were in the trenches together, so we just bonded for life. As I previously said, I went to Hollywood to fulfill my dream, making film and television. Figured other people were doing it, I could too. But what I really didn't understand is that there was nobody who looked like me. There was no black woman who was doing what I wanted to do, making mainstream big studio movies. And and Hollywood is an incredibly competitive environment. So while I wasn't greeted with open hostility, nobody was opening their arms to say, "Come on in, Debra." There were, of course, wonderful people that I found who championed me and mentored me, and I had peers who were making their way, but the path for me to achieve my goals meant that I had to be a first in many ways. I didn't intend for that to be, but that was the reality. It wasn't easy. I felt like I was constantly taking 2 steps forward, only to take a step and a half back. And it was emotionally draining. But I was able to rely upon my wonderful friends and family who, by and large, gave me unconditional support, who also every now would take me on vacation with them so I could get away, and who just wanted me to win. I would periodically look down and I realized, oh my God, there's no net. Like I can just fall through. But I would also see their smiles, their faces of encouragement, and it kept me going. So similarly, the friends you have made here and the incredible alumni network that you are now a part of can be some of the most important resources in your entire life. And I encourage you to continue to nurture and treasure them. Number 5, when the door closes, a window will open. This has been one of my most important and impactful lessons in life. And at this point, having seen it play out successfully so many times over the years, this mantra has become a source of peace and power for me. When you've done the work to know what is your purpose and are in touch with the voice inside of you and begin to take steps towards your goal, everything still isn't going to fall right into place. But know that under those circumstances, when the door closes, when that thing that you think you must have in order to succeed does not happen, it is most often because there is something even better for you, better than you ever anticipated, behind the window that will open. In the early in my career, my mentor was ousted as chairman of Columbia Pictures, and I desperately wanted to leave the company. I was up for a job overseeing the development of projects for a really big movie star. I was vetted over 2 months. I was certain I had to have this job in order to advance my career. I didn't get it. I was so disappointed, and I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? My career has stalled. A couple of weeks later, by pure chance, I met Denzel Washington on my way to lunch on the Sony lot. The little voice said, go introduce yourself. One thing led to another, and I went to work for him the following week, running his production company at TriStar Pictures. It was the perfect job for me. I took the journey with him from Oscar-winning actor for Glory to big male movie star, and I learned so much along the way. Had I gotten the job I thought that I had to have, I would not have been available to get the job that was perfect for me. The door closed and the window opened. In the early 2000s, we were preparing to shoot Sister of the Traveling Pants that summer. We had a script that was good, we'd put together a good cast, and we were moving towards a green light. Suddenly, a new movie package came into Warner Brothers and they pushed us to the following summer. I was devastated. I'd been working for years to put this movie together, and there was a part of me that was sure that was the end. It was never going to happen. But it turned out that the extra time let us make a much better movie. The script went from good to great. Except for America Ferrara, we recast the young women. Alexis Bledel and Amber Tamblyn previously had not been available because of their TV commitments. And Blake Lively had just gotten an agent a month before she came in to audition for us. Sisterhood was her very first job in life. And the rest, as they say, is history. When the door closes, the window will open. Having experienced this phenomenon so many times in my life, I now create a vision of what I want to accomplish. I do the work. I do everything possible to position myself for success. And then I let the voice begin our mantra. What is meant for me will come to me. If you believe in yourself and have learned to bet on yourself, it will work. Okay, those are my 5 lessons that I wanted to share with you today. And I realize I am one of the last things standing between you, your degree, the parties, the celebrations, and the rest of your life. I wish you good fortune. I hope that you find your purpose and happiness and fulfillment. I wish each of you a very consequential life. Stay gold. Thank you.